I'm going to show you how to put together your C-core. It's helpful if you lay the pieces out in order and just start building from the bottom up, following the component list. So in the first layer, which I'm calling the base layer, we have 8 pieces, 0 through 7, and you can see them right here. There's also a little bubble, which isn't a numbered piece, and those you have a bunch of. You're just going to add those as it goes along. There's no right or wrong with that, just add them as you feel like. I have the tube set up with the front facing you, so you're building it with the front facing you. I know this is the front because the little valve is in the back. So position the valve away from you, and we're going to start there. The first piece I'm going to take is the pale the pale coral piece, numbered 1. And this is going to go covering the valve area. The corals almost always go from the middle of the tube leaning towards the side. So that's the first one. And I'm going to take piece 0, which is this little turquoise round, and tuck it underneath that coral. And I'm just going to put the bubble in there because I think it'll be cute. It should get trapped. Then I'm going to take pieces 2 and 3, the aqua coral, and make a V with them. They're numbered correctly, so if you put the numbers at the top and just make a little V, it's going to set down in the tube just like that. Okay. Then I've got a couple pieces left. I've got the bent shell, these 2 little jellies, and the exotic here. I'm going to take the bent shell and just tuck it underneath one of the aqua coral. And they move. You can just... Oops. Tweak it as necessary. These 2 little jellies I'm going to stick underneath the other one. You can fix that. I usually like these guys kind of back to back, but it doesn't really matter. Whatever you like is fine. And then the last piece is this little exotic shell. You can really stick him pretty much anywhere you want. I'm going to tuck him in with those little jellies. Okay, and that's your first layer. The next thing we're going to do is add 3 jellies between the coral and a little structural piece. So the 3 jellies are these, the honey brown, the blue and green, and the warm brown jelly. Blue-green jelly with this long frond down, and it's going to go between piece 1 and 3, the aqua coral and the pale coral. The warm brown jelly is going to go in the front between these 2 aqua blue corals. And you probably figured out this honey brown one is going to go same thing with this long frond in the little V created by the other side, the pale and the aqua coral. Now, if you look at it from the top, you'll notice there's kind of a little hole there. I want to fill that with something structural, so I'm going to take this little piece of pale coral and stick it right in the middle there. This will give me a support piece as I build up. The next thing we're going to do is add some of these pretty exotic shells building on up, and then we'll add some more coral. The coral are really structural pieces. So this one, piece 12, goes over this warm brown jelly and kind of standing up. I'm just going to tuck it in, kind of like that. The next one, piece 13, is in between, it's upright, I'm sorry. It's upright between those two pieces of pale coral. So it's going to be behind the honey jelly. And I'm just tucking it in, standing up. And you can fiddle with these. The idea is just to make it, position them so you like them. And then we have 2 more pieces of coral and this chartreuse jelly. The chartreuse jelly is going to go over that blue-green jelly that we placed earlier. And again, I like the big fronds going down, so it kind of fills this gap you have, just like that. Next, I'm going to take these 2 aqua coral and do exactly the same thing. Make kind of a V with them. And I'm just putting them in the middle, facing out, just like you did before. I can't reach it, so I'm going to have to stand up. The taller tubes are kind of hard because it's a big reach to reach up and down, up and around. So just kind of arrange them so you like them. All right. We've got 4 jellies to add and a couple more of these exotic shells. I'm going to start with the orange jelly. And he's going to go in the V between these pieces of aqua coral that you just set. And again, I like the big frond pointing down. This big brown jelly is 180 degrees away. He faces this way towards the back of the glass. These 2 little guys get kind of tucked in on the left side, and it's not really super critical. They're just going to kind of fill this little space between this honey brown and the orange jelly. And you can stick them in any order you like. The blue one's a little smaller, so I'm going to put that in first. Then we have these two fancy shells. And one of them goes over the chartreuse jelly that we have in the back. Just kind of folded over him. And I probably should have done that one before I put him in. So you can slip this guy out or just be careful and tuck him in. some of these I did, I'm sorry, this one I did the back facing the glass. Normally I put shells with the edges towards the glass. There are a couple in this one that are like this with the back facing the glass. This is one of them, which is why he didn't fit. Yes. And 21 is the other one, and he faces the orange jelly. So I have to put Mr. Orange Jelly back in. And then this one's just going to stand upright facing the orange jelly. And just kind of work it in so he sits nice. If you need to adjust anything, you can. Alrighty. You're now about halfway done. We're going to add a couple more jellies and some more coral, which are structural, and then we've got another shell, but this one's a little odd because it's got a little hijacker. I'll show you what happens with that. I'm going to start with 23, this golden jelly, and he's just going to fill, there's kind of a hole between the brown and the orange jelly that's already there. I'm just going to tuck him in there. And then these two coral, same bit. They're just going to be partnered and go in the hole. The bottom's going to go in the hole in the center there. Then we've got this fancy shell, and that goes in over the dark brown jelly that's in the back. And I don't remember if this is facing in or out. So I'm going to refer to the little photos, and it looks like the back of the shell is facing the glass. So I'm just going to tuck it in this way. All right, we've got this lovely gray jelly, which I really like. This piece and the little tiny chartreuse one. The next one to go in is the gray jelly, and he goes in between the two aqua corals that you just placed. And again, I typically like the biggest frond facing down, but it's not super essential. I'm going to use this little chartreuse guy to just kind of fill in the gap on this piece of coral. We want him to sit right here, but if he's not, oh, there he goes. And then this shell. This shell is number 29, and it goes over the aqua coral that we've done everything on this front frond. This goes over the back frond, and this piece, I just wanted one of those exotic shells hanging, so the tie is at the top. So it's just going to go over the coral like that. Oops, and I did knock the little guy, so we'll just get him situated again. If you need to come back when you have another piece in there with him, that's fine. Or you can just let him sit a little differently. I'm going to come back with him. We've got a couple more pieces of coral to add, including the piece that I forgot to number. So this will probably be a 30A. I just forgot to number it. So it's 3 pieces of coral, a couple jellies, and another shell. This exotic shell is going to go in the back facing the glass over the pretty gray jelly we just did. And if you need to adjust things, you can. Now that I've got that, I'm going to tuck this little jelly back in there. Just turn him till he fits. There we go. There. This little exotic round shell is going to back up to the this one that we just put in and really just fill this little hole. Next to him, we're going to put this bright yellow jelly. And he's really on top of that aqua coral and that funky shell that we just put in. This time I'm not putting the long fronds down just because he fits better that way. Then I've got 3 more pieces of coral. And I'm going to take the aqua ones and do exactly what you've done before, but drape them more on this side that has a little bit of a hole. And I'm going to take this other piece and just kind of fill in this side. So then these are going as a V. Okay. So on this last layer, we've got a bunch of jellies to put in and 1 more coral piece. I'm going to start with piece 35, this bright orange jelly, and he goes with the long frond down into the V made by the 2 light corals, aqua corals you put in earlier. So he just sits right in that V like that. The brown jelly, piece number 37, goes almost directly behind that one. And he's just going to go in this little hole in the front here. And just kind of play with it till you find how he fits best. 36, this shell is going to go over on top of that brown jelly. And then I'm going to use this last coral. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm going to take I'm going to use this last coral and put it behind here. As you start to get near the top, keep checking your height. You can't have any pieces sticking up higher than the rim or your lid won't go on properly. I'm going to tip this piece of coral a little towards the back and put piece number 39, the yellow jelly, in the little V created by this shell and the coral. Just play with it until you get a decent fit. I didn't like how his fronds were hitting the brown one. That looks better. Next we have a couple of shells, and I'm going to put the clear lacy one behind the yellow jelly, just sort of making a little cup. I gotta move them around a little or I'm too tall. That'll work. The remaining pieces, just look for your best fit. I like to keep one of the shells near the top, so I'm going to try to say 47 for my last piece. I'm going to put 42 and 43 in as a pair and let these two little guys fill in this corner. And take a look around, see if there's anywhere that needs a little more color. 46, this chartreuse jelly, I'm going to put him in back next to the orange ones you've already placed. So I've got this last shell and then the one I was holding for the end. I'm going to tuck 45 just in this little corner, kind of standing up, just to give a little color over that orange jelly. Whoops. If it settles in a way you don't like, just pick it up and put it a little differently. Doesn't want to go there, so I'm going to change it and put it in the clear shell. And then this last orange one, you can pick the side you like the best. I'm going to put the dark side up and just tuck it in, which will fill in this whole area and give you a nice top, nice accent. So I'll show you what the whole thing looks like. And again, don't worry if it's exact. It doesn't need to be. It's just a nice balance of color all the way through and interesting pieces, no matter which side you look at it from. Okay, well there's your Seacor. Have fun with it and I hope you love it.